So I am very grateful to be here. Izabela Jutrzenka is enough. Thank you. Uh, yes, I will try to share my slides with you.
And
did it work?
Yes, we see. And don't forget to share sound if you have examples.
Thank you very much. I would like to present my research findings on influence of Chopin on improvisation on Chopin's Piano Concerto Opus 21. Improvisation played a significant role in a 19th century concert life. It was often featured at the end of concerts performed by the piano virtuosos of the time. Improvisation, understood as the practice of preluding, as in providing an improvised introduction to a given work, had its roots in Baroque music. Among the improvisational practices common at the beginning of the century were fantasies on a given theme, particularly folk and operatic melodies, as well as ornamentation and cadenzas. Improvisation as a scholarly topic, however, remained relatively rare until the mid-20th century. It appeared in Ernst Ferrand Die Improvisation in Beispielen aus neuen Jahrhundert und abendländischer Musik. In 1974, ethnomusicologist Bruno Nettel published an article, Thoughts on Improvisation, a Comparative Approach, emphasizing the need for a comparative study on improvisation. He later edited the collection of essays In the Course of Performance, Studies in the World of Musical Improvisation, followed by Musical Improvisation, Art, Education, and Society. A sudden increase in the number of studies on this topic may have been influenced by the growth of jazz studies. In recent decades, the significance of improvisation in performing practice, education, as well as research has grown considerably. Since the 1990s, there has been a marked increase in scholarly work devoted both to improvisation in general and to Chopin's improvisation in particular. While Jean-Jacques Eigeldinger's research in the second half of the 20th century renewed interest in this area, only the past 30 years have provided unrecognized aspect of this theme. Recent publications have provided new perspective on this study, such as Gertzen's By Way of Introduction, preluding in the 18th and early 19th century pianists, Hamilton's After the Golden Age, Romantic Pianism and Modern Performance, as well as Goulet's Fantasies of Improvisation, Free Playing in 19th Century Music. Born in Warsaw and shaped by the city's rich cultural environment of the 1820s, Frédéric Chopin was recognized as an exceptional improviser. His improvisations were described by numerous witnesses, including Jean Delacroix, Julian Fontana, Georges Sand, Bogdan Zaleski, and Eliza Fournier. All known instances of composers' improvisations have been truly researched by Krystyna Kopylańska. Of particular significance in this area of research are the findings of Halina Goldberg concerning the historical and cultural conditions of 19th century Warsaw. She filled in the research gap by exploring the influence of Chopin's studies at the Warsaw Conservatory and his relationship with his teachers on his early creative development. Goldberg has also truly examined the repertoire presented at Warsaw's Opera Theatre as well as the sacred music performed in churches, both of which could have influenced young Chopin. She assigns special importance to the virtuoso concerts held in Warsaw, in the town hall, the royal castle, and the national theatre. Among many prominent artists who appeared there were singer Angelika Cataliani, pianist Maria Szymanowska, and Johanna Hummel. And on the occasion of coronation of Tsar Nikolai as King of Poland in 1829, Performances were given by Niccolò Paganini and Karol Lipinski, followed by Anne-Caroline de Belleville and the singer Henriette Sontag in 1830. In Goldberg's opinion, it is likely that the young Chopin heard improvisations of Paganini and Hummel. She discusses evidence of Chopin's own improvisation during concerts on August 11, 1829 in Vienna and March 20 of March 1830, as well as in October of 1830 in Warsaw. In this research area, the importance of John Ring long engagement cannot be overstated. His research began with his doctoral dissertation, The Evolution of Chopin's Structural Style in its Relation to Improvisation, and continued through a series of influential essays, including The Legacy of Improvisation in Chopin, as well as an article Chopin in Improvisation. In The Legacy of Improvisation in Chopin, Ring summarized, following Krystyna Koblańska pioneering research, numerous contemporary accounts of Chopin's improvisation. Although his arrival in Paris in 1831, Chopin avoided public improvisation, he continued to improvise regularly in private concerts. The focus of Ring's article lies in the influence of improvisation on Chopin's composition, that is, of the way in which its heritage was manifested in his composed music. Ring was able to identify 7 key aspects of heritage and influence, illustrating them with examples from the prelude in C-sharp minor, opus 45. The first aspect concerns Chopin's improvisatory compositional process at the piano. To emphasize Chopin's intimate creative relationship with the instrument, Ring has drawn upon Samson's insights. Here is a long quote from Samson. Chopin's total involvement with the piano was right at the heart of his creativity. The composition would begin live at the piano. Its overall conception already formed and its melodic and harmonic details often already realized before he set pen to paper. He drew much of his inspiration directly from the exploration of novel keyboard textures and sonorities, and he allowed the limitations of the instrument to define the boundaries of an enclosed musical world, which could contain the expressive extremes of a widely ranging language. End quote. Both authors highlight the role of direct contact with the piano on Chopin's compositional process. Ring observed that Chopin's working out process at the keyboard allowed music to be tried out and either retained or rejected, which in many aspects of an improvisatory one left its mark on the material substance of his compositions. The second aspect involves the structural underpinning of Chopin works. Drawing on his doctoral research, Ring argues that Chopin often conceived an overall structure before committing it to paper. During his Warsaw years, Chopin developed a remarkable control of underlying structures, particularly in his dance music and works written in the style brillant. The third aspect concerns influence of improvisatory vocal traditions, particularly bel canto. Elements drawn from vocal improvisation include ornamentation, cadenzas, and recitative-like passages. Further aspect of this improvisatory legacy appears in the use of ostinato with variation strategy, such as we can observe in his Barcarolle opus 57. Another strategy is employment of harmonic sequences at the beginning of the work, sequencing moving from tonic to 7th degree, as well as sequencing using descending scale patterns, which are typical for Chopin's early composition. Finally, Chopin frequently announced principal motifs or themes at the beginning of the work, similarly to the presentation of a thema in a set of variation, or presenting a thema before or is it at the beginning of improvisation? Ring concluded that this tradition of improvisational composing influenced various aspects of Chopin's work: harmonic and structural underpinnings, melodic figurations, as well as ornamentation. Similar improvisatory strategies can be identified in Chopin's Piano Concerto in F minor, Opus 21. In the second movement appear structural underpinnings typical for improvisation. It has a ternary form, recurrent structural strategy mastered in Chopin's Warsaw years, consisting of introduction, section A, section B, varied reprise, and a short coda using material of the introduction. In the middle part of the concerto, melody assumes a distinctly vocal character. Apart from the wide breath melodic line of the initial motif, aspects inspired by vocal music include cadenzas, ornamentation, and recitative-like passages. Particularly demanding for performers are sweeping figurations without precise rhythmic notation, such as here shown in bar 26. For me, the most striking trait of vocal traditions is the recitativo accompagnato. In Piano Concerto Opus 21, two moments drawing from this vocal improvisation tradition appear. First one in the development section of the first movement, and second one in the middle section of the second movement. The latter one is a fragment with high dramaturgy, accentuated by composer's indication, appassionato. It should be noted that in this section, conductor must closely follow the pianist's leads, especially where the notation of large gruppetti give some rhythmical freedom to the soloist. Variants in ornamentation of vocal improvisation origin occur also in the reprise of second theme in the first movement of the concerto. Markings such as dolcissimo and ritenuto imply that the figurations should be performed expressively and should not be rushed. Here is the fragment con anima. Improvisatory vocal effects also appear in the third movement of Opus 21, where variants in ornamentation when repeating the same theme recall the ornamentation variants typical of Chopin's mazurkas. The opening of the first solo in Piano Concerto Opus 21 shows a different strategy. It is a type of figuration that within 3 bars descends rapidly from highest to lowest register. Performers often start slower, gaining momentum as they descend toward the trill in bar 72, in an attempt to evoke yearning. Ring notes that such passages from left to right hand simulate figuration most typical of preluding in the early mid-19th century, suggesting that it evokes a yearning quality. Recurring ascending arpeggios, passing from lowest to highest register, reinforce the expressive tension. Probably the most significant is the figure in the left hand, as it leads to the presentation of main theme in the first movement. Traditionally employed here, tempo rubato enhances the music improvisatory character and melancholic quality. Traces of instrumental improvisatory tradition also appear in the second movement in the transitions bar 73-74 between the middle recitative section and the varied reprise. Written out arpeggios in the second movement further contribute to improvisatory. As the final aspect of improvisatory traditions, Ring described principal motifs announced at the beginning of the piece. In this regard, concerto follows the conventions of piano concerto genre, employing sonata form in the first movement, ternary form in the second, and a rondo form for the finale. and there are no such moments in this work. These examples show that improvisation, both pianistic as well as of vocal origins, has been a valid source of inspiration for Frédéric Chopin in his Warsaw years. Composers' relationship with improvisation and improvised music has been changing and developing over the years, but traces of improvisatory traditions remained a significant influence on his music over the years. It is surprising that on the one hand, Chopin rejected improvisation in the concertos, excluding the possibility, which was common, of free playing by the performer. But on the other hand, he included many aspects of improvisatory legacy within his work. Thank you very much.